It's the ugly sister the beautiful game doesn't like to talk about. But it's always there poised, ready to ruin a great spectacle or a celebration of our great game. The football hooligan. A mob mentality mixed with alcohol often leads to violent scenes, like this one in Trafalgar Square. English hooliganism dates back to the 1880s, when troublemakers would sometimes attack umpires or the away team's players. In the 60s, skinheads attracted media attention for their violent outbursts. Police are often vastly outnumbered when trying to disperse crowds, fueling what is already a distinct lack of respect for authority from football hooligans. Taunting, ridicule and bravado in front of the police force is a common occurrence. Football hooligans appear to have no conscience or consideration for the people around them. And sadly, regardless of whether they are happy or sad about a result, the aftermath is nearly always the same: violence and arrests. In this case, troublemakers got so out of hand that instead of reprimanding them, the police force had to leave their cars to escape violence, fearing for their own safety.
There's only one option: not stay in the vehicle. We just had to get out, and that's what we did. We just got out and made a rapid escape from the area.
Japan 2002. All is quiet ahead of the World Cup. Here in the stadium though, Japanese riot police are participating in mock drills to prepare for the onset of expected violence from football hooligans. They attack the police with sticks, weapons and sheer brute force to replicate what might happen in real life. Head of security, Katsuhiro Endo, was leaving nothing to chance.
フリガンの危険というのは確かにメディアでいろいろ報道されておりますが、警察としてはそのフリガン問題がもう大問題で、日本において例えば98年フランス大会のような大騒動になるというふうな認識は現時点では私自身は持ってはおりません。諸対策によってそうした事態に至らないように警備をやっていきたいと考えております。
Preparing for the worst often means you get the best, and Japan left nothing to chance. Water cannons, dogs, and all manner of weaponry was tested and tested again. But not only was Japan worried about other countries' supporters, it was also worried about its own hooligan element. In 1985, English football clubs and their fans were banned from all European competitions for 6 years due to out-of-control rioting. The violence began at Heysel Stadium in Brussels, a bad start, as the stadium had already been deemed unfit to host a clash of the magnitude of Liverpool and Juventus. Police were unable to control the violent supporters from both sides. 600 people were injured, and tragically, 39 people were killed, all in the name of a game. Othello Laurentini's son Roberto was killed in the clash.
Caduta e quelli che hanno cominciato a entrare in questo settore, la gente si è impaurita e poi avevano delle sbarre, dei bastoni, insomma erano armati. e quindi la gente aveva paura anche per quello. Quindi c'è stato un fuggi generale e poi di lì è nato la fine del mondo. Purtroppo.
Simone Stenti believes it was Liverpool players who initially fired up their fans.
Mi ricordo esplicitamente Globelar e Neil, Phil Neal, che incominciarono a giocare con gli hooligans. Gli hooligans lanciarono un pallone in campo, loro palleggiarono tra loro, rilanciavano il pallone in campo. La cosa andò avanti per un po' e gli hooligans erano veramente infiammati per questa cosa, fin tanto che un razzo partì dal loro settore al nostro. Quello fu l'inizio, secondo me, della tragedia, perché i due giocatori applaudirono. Il pubblico veramente esplose e arrivò un altro razzo. Io pensai che il loro applauso era diretto all'entusiasmo derivato dai tifosi, e invece partito un altro razzo loro applaudirono di nuovo, e da lì poi successe quello che tutti sappiamo.
Juventus midfielder Marco Tardelli says players knew very little till after the game.
Lo abbiamo realizzato la sera dopo la partita, che abbiamo visto dei filmati. Sapevamo che c'era qualcosa, ma non sapevamo di tutto quello che era successo. È stata veramente una scoperta allucinante, forse.
Authorities laid blame for the entire incident at the feet of Liverpool fans. But Juventus also came under fire for displaying its trophy in the cabinet right after the game, and for not doing enough to help the bereaved families. Many fans maintained their innocence and blamed the stadium facilities. Heysel Stadium never hosted a football game again and was demolished in 1994. Spain 2008, and what really should have been the best of times soon deteriorated into the worst of times. Spain was celebrating its Euro 2008 win, its first for over 30 years, when things turned ugly. Opinion had it that a few spoilt it for the many. Earlier on, fans had been cheering and shouting, "Viva España!" Many draped in red and yellow Spanish flags. But things turned violent as far-right extremist groups clashed with police in riot gear. Several anti-riot police vans arrived at trouble spots as fans set fire to litter bins on the street. The trouble had been fueled by high temperatures during the day, so hot that firefighters had doused crowds with water to keep them cool. But that couldn't stop crowds from becoming dehydrated and eventually highly inebriated. The crowd's high spirits turned to violence after a long day with emotions running high. At least 12 fans were arrested, but no exact figures were confirmed, as police refused to confirm or deny media reports. Police also stated that the intense regionalism in Spain, whereby the Catalan, Barcelona and Bilbao try to separate themselves from Madrid, also increased fans' ferocity. The passionate Spanish temperament, coupled with intense pride, escalated trouble. It is often the case that many legitimate celebrations are spoilt by a few rioting fanatics who spoil it for everyone. Too often, the ugly side of football becomes the story, rather than a country's celebration of a well-earned victory. It was to be a showcase between two great football rivals, Turkey and Greece, at a match in Istanbul. But an outbreak of violence at the match between Greek side Panathinaikos and the Turkish side Fenerbahce was a blow to officials, who had hoped to use the game to show cooperation in a bid to host the 2008 European football tournament. The Turkish and Greek foreign ministers both tried to play down the incidents.
We had a small incident, but it was only very, very small in the sea of warmth, and I'd like to thank for the very, very nice hospitality we have, and we hope we'll have the same when Fenerbahce comes to Athens. Thank you very much.
All seemed calm enough, but in response to an alleged stream of insults, home supporters hurled objects at the visiting supporters. The Turkish foreign minister played down the incident.
Biz de anlamadık ne olduğunu tabii. Çok tatsız bir iş ama Allah'tan sonra her şey sakin geçti. Fakat tabii keşke Fenerbahçe kazansaydı.
Peki nasıl buldunuz Fenerbahçe?
Once again, it was hooligan supporters and not governments and committees that were determining where it was safe to play football's most prominent tournaments. Once again, something that should have been good-natured rivalry turned ugly as supporters tried to protect their so-called turf under the guise of patriotism or nationalism. Riot police were called, but the violence again got out of hand. Flags were unfurled and songs were sung. Calm was restored soon enough, but the damage had already been done. In the eyes of the world, the hooligan had reared its head yet again. Perhaps the most shocking side to football hooliganism is not just rowdy drunken fans turning violent after a match, but pre-arranged clashes between supporters happening independently of a game. Gangs are organising these violent showdowns via fan websites or social networking sites, and then turning up to fight in the name of sport. Captured on CCTV footage, we can see here a pre-arranged clash between two rival gangs in Manchester, England. It was arranged on the phone 2 weeks prior to its happening. Ironically enough, not 1 month later, members of these same two gangs would combine to attack German fans at a European tournament. As for the man on the ground, the hooligans are sadly not finished yet. A police van arrives and arrests are made. The footage shows how much more violent hooligans have become, and police are getting worried.
The worst of the hooligans have become much more organised in what they do, and they're looking, in a sense, for softer targets. They will choose opportunities, occasions and locations that it's difficult for us to anticipate. And to some extent this has resulted in a shift of the problem away from its traditional locations, particularly inside football grounds, to other places.
Ironically, the youths who were convicted from the footage had never been to see the teams they fought in the name of so violently on that day. More and more football rioting occurs outside the games rather than inside. This disassociation from the game itself and the teams the hooligans supposedly support may be great for appearances, but how long will it be before once again the beautiful game's ugly sister will not be away from the fans but amongst them? In 2006, it was Germany's turn to host the World Cup, and it also had to deal with those out to ruin the spectacle of the beautiful game. But inspired by Japan's handling of troublemakers, police set up a simulated training session to try to combat hooligans. Volunteers posed as potential rioters, and police and security forces attempted to hold them back and take control of the situation. Simulated training exercises such as this one are becoming a popular way of teaching police to deal with violence. It is possible to teach security forces what the reality of these situations will be like. They are hugely overpowering. Even though the situation was close to real, in this case no one was injured, apart from a photographer who was hit in the face by a flying apple. German policeman Jürgen Gades, who was in charge of the exercise, was pleased.
Der Beobachtung der Hauptziele dieser Übung, die Verzahnung der Polizeiführer der verschiedenen Organisationseinheiten, kann man jetzt schon sagen, dass das sehr gut funktioniert. Es wird sehr eng zusammengearbeitet, die Maßnahmen entsprechend beurteilt und abgestimmt. Ich denke, damit können wir schon jetzt sehr zufrieden sein.
Germany took the unprecedented step of clearing some of its jails before the World Cup in preparation for the onslaught of rowdy fans, whose only intention was to cause trouble. In the event, apparently 5,000 troublemakers turned up without even bothering to buy tickets to a match. But it was the English authorities who had the most experience at dealing with rioters. Realising that football should be about families coming together, English security have tried to crack down on violence and ugliness during the matches. By working together, German and English police are able to profile the average football hooligan. They discovered that it was often not about football, but all about a warped idea of nationalism and protecting one's turf. Even these seemingly happy content fans could turn violent when dealing with the prospect of having their nation insulted. Stephen Thomas of Manchester Police outlined Britain's commitment to the Germans.
Our cooperation with the German authorities, both the government and the police, is unprecedented in our experience. We're taking the largest group ever of English police officers to Germany for the World Cup, but that's because we're invited to take such a large group.
Thomas went on to explain why so many English police were needed on the ground in Germany.
Well, it's the German authorities are determined to do as much as they can to make sure the World Cup's trouble-free. For the first time, not only our intelligence football spotting operation will be running there, we're actually running 44 English police officers in uniform in Germany, and that's part of a reassurance measure to reassure English supporters that you are safe in Germany and everyone can have a good time there.
Almost 1,000 English hooligans were arrested amid violent scenes at the two previous World Cups held in Europe. There had been little trouble at the previous World Cup held in Asia, so Germany was taking no chances. It was assumed English supporters would descend on Germany's World Cup because of the ease with which they could fly to Germany. The British police sent intelligence officers and even members of its Crown Prosecution Service, leading to fans possibly facing charges upon their return to Britain.
We've got a fantastic level of cooperation now with our German colleagues. Along what we've done here over the recent years, we believe we've at least set in train a structure that will actually help us to have a peaceful World Cup.
There was concern about the rivalry between German and English fans, or rather, less about their rivalries and more about the fear that both mobs would simply want to cause trouble because they could. The mob mentality has been responsible for a host of issues at football matches. As well as concerns over the bad press that would be associated with riots and the potential harm to tourists and spectators, Germany was also worried about its own people. In years gone by, you might turn the other cheek, walk away from trouble and try to avoid violence. But the Germans wanted to ensure nobody came to harm.
Head down.
36 members of the German Football League gathered together under the motto, "Working with Fans" in 2010. A fan liaison officer was appointed to see what could be done to combat the continuing blight of football hooliganism on the game of football. The German League wanted to get to the bottom of what made fans so angry and what caused them to spiral out of control. The fans, in basic terms, said hooliganism was often born out of frustration. Stadiums were always too small to accommodate the amount of fans who wished to see the games. So why not bring the game to the people? Thomas Schneider took the ideas on board.
Wir haben da ja auf eine ganz andere Form von Gesamtkonzeptprävention gesetzt, nämlich Fans als Chance zu begreifen. Fans haben Respekt zu genießen, das kann sich ausdrücken in Rahmenbedingungen beim Fußballspielbesuch. Aber auch, wenn man weiß, es ist also viel zu viel Interesse da, dann kann es auch sein, dass Public Viewing-Wände eben da sind. Also diese ganze konzertierte Aktion hat dazu beigetragen, dass Fußballfans sich bedeutsam gefühlt haben bei der WM, entsprechend auch aufgetreten sind, nämlich friedfertig, Teil der Party sein wollten, statt Teil des Ärgers.
So how successful was it?
Wir müssen doch sagen, dass wir sehr erfolgreich insgesamt mit unseren präventiven Anstrengungen mit den Problemen umgehen konnten. Gerade im Profifußball sind Fans mittlerweile Teil des gesamten Spektakels. Wenn Sie sich angucken, die Ultraszene beispielsweise, die inszeniert nicht nur sich selbst, sondern die macht ein Fußballspiel auch für einen anderen Besucher, der völlig unbedarft ist vom Fußball womöglich, zu einem Spektakel, zu etwas Mirakulösen, was man so schnell nicht vergisst. Das gilt es weiter auszubauen, das gilt es zu unterstützen.
Figures show that today, the amount of arrests for hooliganism in the United Kingdom are trending downwards. In many cases, people who are arrested face bans of up to 10 years from travelling abroad to watch football games. But even though there has been a decline in arrests, authorities are taking no chances, and 3,000 fans will be banned from travelling to South Africa for the 2010 World Cup.